Pronto, VIncenza.
Oh, pronto, Randy. And welcome everyone to our 7th episode
Do you believe
of
it?
Pronto. Can you believe it's 7?
Yeah.
I'm excited. Welcome everyone tuning in to our 7th episode of our lifestyle podcast called Pronto. We're excited to talk about all things beauty, conversation, current events, life. I love it. We talk about everything and anything here at Pronto. So welcome everyone. And how are you, Randy?
Really good. I'm excited today to talk to India.
Me too.
I have a passion for branding.
Oh, well, why don't you share with our viewers a little bit about that?
Well, Curry Hair, Skin, and Nails has been in business 45 years this year.
Congratulations.
And, along with Pronto, we branded Pronto and Corella.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to see what she has tips to do.
Right. I'm always learning, right? We never stop learning. And that's really, really important. No matter at what point you're at in your business or in life, you never stop learning because the world is evolving.
Right.
Business is evolving. Even social media and marketing is constantly evolving. And you have to just adapt and pivot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the famous word of the pandemic, but I feel like we've been pivoting our whole lives in business, right?
Yeah.
So it's just became more popular and well known through the pandemic. And now that's all we do is adapt and pivot as we continue to grow and thrive in our businesses, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Technology's changed everything. So.
Oh, yes, that's right. Technology is always changing.
Right.
Just look at the high tech, fancy technology we have here just to be able to brand and market. It's another opportunity. Hosting a podcast is another great opportunity to really market and brand your company or your own personal brand.
Right.
And it's the beauty of it and being relevant in today's day and age. Yes, it's important to have a updated website. Very, very important, and have a updated social media platform of choice, whether it is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. There's so many, or them all. Yep, or all the above, but making sure that you're staying relevant, because that's really, really important, whether you're branding your business or branding yourself.
Yeah. And if you look at the company like Apple, like what makes them stand out is because like everyone's on the same page in Apple,
right?
Like technology wise and the marketing wise.
How do you come up with your marketing? I guess you would say through the 45 years that Curry has been in existence, how have you come up with your marketing and how have you adapted over the years?
I was lucky enough to meet a designer early on, and Dory Griffith, and she's marvelous, and she designed our logo, and she designs all the ads. It's really challenging to keep on point on branding, like
right
you have to
as you can see this ad up right here, right, just to give a little shout out,
a
little about branding and whatnot. See, and that's key,
right?
Because it paints the picture of your mission, your business mission, or your personal branding mission. And you're right. You're so right about that. So you found someone that was knowledgeable and professional and was experienced in that, and that's who you brought on board.
Right.
Which is smart. That's smart business. Now, for those that maybe have to figure it out themselves, it's asking yourself, what's your mission? What's your purpose? What is who is your audience? That's, I think, the most important question to ask is, who is your audience? And that's something that really will play a part in figuring out your marketing plan and branding plan and strategy. I know with the restaurant, I'm always evolving. The restaurant is constantly evolving and I have to keep up with it. And it's sometimes difficult because you feel exhausted. Just when you get into the swing of things, you start promoting something, you have to change it all over again. So it's constantly just pivoting and pivoting again and pivoting again and again. But when it comes to my personal branding, just as myself, I believe in being truly authentic and not putting out something that I don't believe in, that stays aligned with my morals and values. That's really important to me and represents me. So when I'm thinking about how I brand and market myself, I always think about, okay, what aligns with my morals and values?
Right.
And I always remind myself of that. Again, everyone's different, right? Everyone's different. They have to do what's best for them. So we're all about marketing, right?
Well, when an organization has a passion or message and the people that work in an organization, believe the same message, you end up with a strong branding concept
Right.
because everyone's moving in the same direction.
Right. And people can tell when it's not authentic.
Right.
I believe that
Yeah.
when you have a strong branding message, whether it's for your business or for yourself, personal branding of yourself, I really believe that people can tell when it's not authentic or it's not real. And they can tell. They're smarter. Our audience and I say your followers or your customer base, they know. They're smarter than we think. The consumer is smarter than we think. So we always have to pay attention to that. Yes, stay true to what your mission is and what you believe in, but always take into consideration your audience. Right. So always something to do and something to think of.
And nowadays, like social topics are important, that you get in the right side of whatever's going on.
Right. Exactly. But I also believe it's making sure that you put yourself, I guess you say, in front of the right people. Like, you knew that you had to find someone who was experienced in branding, and you were able to find that person. Well, we found someone who is very experienced in branding and marketing, who is also a dear friend, which I'm excited to introduce. You like that segue?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
We found someone. Yes, there she is. Oh my God, she's so beautiful. We're excited to welcome our guest today. It's India Sage Williams. India is a Ghana. I always say I want to get this right because it's important. She's Ghanaian, Liberian American, and absolutely stunning, as you can see. She is a brand communication strategist and the co-owner of one of the best brand development agencies in the world, FF and ISMA. After transitioning out of the media industry, she pivoted into the branding industry to help companies do a better job of telling their story and improving their customer connections and experiences. She works alongside of her co-founder, UX web designer Amir Hamid, and a team of branding experts. When they decided to merge companies, they set out to accomplish three main goals: transform and improve the way businesses connect with their audience on a global stage through creative strategy and international design, and become a guiding light for women in business, branding, and tech, and one day lead as impact investors. They are grateful to have the opportunity to assist brands with establishing their identity, ensuring their promise to their communities, and effectively sharing their story at key touch points of their customers' journey. So wow. Please welcome India Sage Williams. There's, I hear her.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I am wonderful. India.
Welcome, India.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So for those tuning in, I have a personal connection with India, as you can tell, right? I'm sure everyone listening was like, she knows her. I can tell, right? Randy, India and I go way back.
Really?
Yeah, we do. Right, India?
Yes, we do. I was just thinking about that the other day. I said, it's amazing how roles reverse. I remember when I was interviewing you, and I believe that was for Delaware's 30 Under 30, and you were accepting an award. And I was like, I love her. Your energy was amazing. And you were on the other side. You were making me feel like that was a really good interview. So I'm really happy to be here, as well as with you, Randy. I'm super excited to get started.
Well, we're excited to have you. And I've had the opportunity to kind of bring Randy up to date, by sharing with him that you are the real deal. Yes, you have been boots on the ground, active in the community, empowering women, and just helping individuals really brand their business to a much larger scale. Yes. You are probably one of the most hardworking, I call her a superwoman, that I know. A mother, right? A mother, a businesswoman, and just, I know she's everything, which I love. And that's why I was said to Randy, I was like, we need to feature her because she's an inspiration to many.
I really appreciate that. That introduction was so beautiful. I can't thank you enough for always, seeing my light. And I think that's important to see in each other. I think that allows us to be able to build and create and have opportunities, have conversations like these. So I'm really glad that we connected, and let's get started today.
Yes, definitely. So let's dive right into things. So tell us what it means to be a brand communication strategist.
So I'll start with giving just a little bit of backstory on me, just so that people have an understanding of, why I believe that brand communication is so similar to storytelling.
Right.
So my background is primarily in mass communications. I went to Delaware State University and I majored in mass communications with a concentration in TV, radio, and film production. So my background is heavily invested in the communication style and finding creative ways to interact and to communicate with other people. And so I took that and really invested my time in learning more about my craft and what niche I wanted to fit in, because the mass communications field is so vast in what you can actually do within it. And so you get a broad overview, but to really make yourself strong in the areas that your clients are going to need you to be strong in, it's really important for you to continue to stay up to date with your craft. So I decided, even after college and even after working in numerous newsrooms and, eventually transitioning into digital communications, I started to look for certified programs that could educate me on the process and, again, just help me to kind of niche down in the direction that I wanted to go in, which was digital and strategic communications. And so from there, I really learned that what I was doing as a broadcast journalist, which was my first job role and opportunity. Well, actually, I was a production assistant, but that's neither here nor there. Once I became a broadcast journalist,
she's a superwoman.
once I worked my way up a little bit and became a broadcast journalist, I really found a passion for storytelling at the heart of everything that communications holds. I believe is a really good story. And from there, it really depends on the medium from which you communicate it. And so while I was educating myself and really developing my skill set as a brand strategist and focusing on digital communications, I realized that these worlds were so similar. And it really took just sitting down and identifying where are my strengths and my weaknesses in communications, and where is it that I can improve. And so I started there, right? So I started with the research, I started with the development of myself, and then I decided to start taking on clientele. And so working alongside of a UX web designer is probably one of the best things for a brand communication strategist. So as you ask, what is the importance of a brand communication strategist, or what is a brand communication strategist? A brand communication strategist is someone that can take your vision and your personal understanding of what you want to create and make that happen through strategy, through planning, and through testing. And so, again, working alongside of a UX web designer is so crucial to a strategist, and vice versa, because that designer really has to have an understanding of what a client wants or what a company wants. And so oftentimes there are questions that you have to ask that a designer just might not be thinking about, because they're just simply there to design. They're there to build the vision. They're there to make the vision come to life visually. But as far as the steps to get there, they don't really want to consume themselves with that, because it's so much work alone in the design field. I have a new founded love, appreciation, and respect for brand designers. So shout out to my business partner, Amir Mead. She is amazing, and I see her work day in and day out, and really just elevating her game from each and every brand that she works on. And I think that she's amazing. But back to what I was saying, a designer and a strategist complement each other so much, because your strategist is really helping you to put together that blueprint and that plan that's going to allow your brand to live on, not only online, but to make sure that it's consistent across the board on offline, advertisement, any of your marketing initiatives. It all relies on your branding. So I always tell people, invest in your strategy first. Invest in developing what is the plan, whether that's hiring a team, whether that's hiring a strategist, whether that's trying to figure it out on your own, because most business owners do, right? When you started, you're just trying to figure out, okay, what do I do for the next month? Most
Right.
small business owners that are just getting started are not thinking about a quarterly plan. What am I doing for quarter one? What am I doing for quarter two? They're
Mhm.
just thinking about the fact that they have to get through the next month, make their sales, make their revenue, invest it back in their business, and keep it moving and hope this ship keeps going. But
Right.
if you really want to know where is the ship going and what direction do we need to take to get there, you have to sit down and commit to a strategy. And that's what
Mm.
a brand communication strategist helps you do.
I appreciate that, India. That was so informative
Yeah,
because
yeah.
as you're talking, I'm like, wow, she's right. It's about storytelling. It really is. And how you need to make sure you have the right team to help you tell that story.
That's right.
And your team is able to do that for businesses
Right.
or individuals who are branding themselves.
Yes.
And I have witnessed you do that. We have mutual friends, and I've had the opportunity to actually interview on my Good Morning Wilmington show some of her clients.
Teresa.
Right? Right. And
Yeah.
I'm just blown away with how they are, one, obviously accomplished, talented, strong women that I get to meet, but the way that their branding is put together in a beautiful, it's almost like a beautiful package, and it's presented so professional looking. And that is this is India and her team is the brains behind that. And it really does make a difference. Even just for the first time meeting some of your clients, you look at their website, you look at their social media, because that's a part of my job when I'm hosting Good Morning Wilmington. I research my guests before they come on the show, so I have a little background. And I'm just so blown away with her clients and how organized and professional their websites look, and their social media is up to date, and they're constantly showcasing their true authentic self. And it's real stuff. And that's, again, going back to what India offers and her services. And I'm only saying this because I've witnessed this.
Wow.
And that's why I felt like, gosh, India really needs to be on our
Yeah.
podcast to let more people know about what she's doing.
I appreciate that so much. I mean, you really hit it on the head there, Vincenza, because when I think about branding, oftentimes we do just look at the end result, right? We see the nice, pretty packaged and everything looks great. But there is a moment of time behind the full reveal of a project. And a project could be one of our clients going on your show, right? How can we tie this into another moment for the brand that allows it to promote what my client is doing? And so you want to think in advance to, okay, this client is getting ready to go on this show, but what are we going to do to pre-package this moment or push it after the fact, after they are on the show? There's so many ways that you want to really plan ahead, and that's more important to me than the pretty package on the end at the end.
Yes, that's
What's the
very
biggest
true.
mistake people make in launching a company
I think that in launching a company,
or a brand?
you know what? Before I get on my high horse, right? 'Cause I know something about something. Let me be realistic, right?
Please,
And
go
let
ahead.
me truly put myself in my own shoes, and let me put myself also in that shoes without any of the knowledge and information that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's any mistakes.
Mm.
I think that in business, everything is testing. In branding, everything is testing. Besides the concrete information that you know, like, okay, hopefully you hire a great strategist, so they put together a strong strategy, and hopefully you find a good designer that actually does really great designs.
Right.
All of the decisions that happen in between that, I feel like really help you as a business owner to learn what it is that you need in order to elevate your brand. Right. So for me, I don't think that there's actually mistakes that people make. I think that it's actually the lack of what they do that is the problem. It's not what they do, but it's what they're not doing.
Right.
And I think that in the beginning process, and I wish this was something that I knew early on, I learned it pretty fast though, but I needed to figure it out. You want to make sure that you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. You have to surround yourself with people that are more skilled, more intentional, more strategic with what they're great at. And if there's something within your business that you're not great at, then don't look at that as A, an insecurity, or B, just simply ignore it and hope it goes away. Find the solution for your issue, just as you would want someone else to find you as a solution. And so I think that it's really important early on when people are launching businesses, and there's so much that has to happen before that, because we're talking about branding, but the business development is a whole nother story. It all connects, but that's a different side of what you need to actually do to make sure that you have a legitimate business. But as far as just your branding goes, I think that it's really, really important for you to hire people that are great at what they're great at and allow them to become an investment, right? So when you're investing in a service or you're investing in a employee, you're truly investing your time, money, and resources into something or someone that's going to be able to generate back for you a result. Whatever that result is, invest in that. And I think that people just don't invest. They don't know the importance of investing. And I think that it's really important for myself to educate other business owners about that and kind of like champion that, because investing in your brand and in yourself is really important.
Yes, that's so true.
What about when you have a brand and, it's put together correctly and you have a mission statement but difficulty I'm finding now after COVID is employees, aren't like-minded enough to, follow the dream, so to speak. So, it's challenging because if you're trying to, you brand yourself around customer service, it's challenging to get people to be excellent at customer service. Do you have any remarks on that?
Absolutely. I think that's a really great question, because it allows me to touch on a key element within your branding that you need to build early on. And so back to, the original question that you asked me, the reason why it's so important for you to invest in your brand and to find people that are good at what they do is because they're going to start asking you questions about your business that you're not necessarily thinking about right now. And those long-term, which is what you're talking about, is a long-term effect of a problem, right? That happened early on, but let's say, for instance, we're just now recognizing that during the pandemic. I think that sometimes situations bring out what would I call it? It kind of brings out the, what's the word that I'm looking for? It kind of uncovers for you what it is that is actually wrong, right? Like what it is that's actually wrong or has been something that you could have fixed early on. So starting in the beginning, I would say your brand values cannot be limited to just one value. Because when people are going to crowd around a dream or crowd around a plan and support that, they have to have some type of emotional connection to that plan, and it has to matter to them in the same way that it matters to you. But let's say, for instance, our values are not all the same, right? We all have different values and what matters to us. And so for your employees, customer service is not a value to them, but love and family and knowing that this is a loyal company, right? That makes me feel connected to that brand, right? Or let's say, for instance, one of your values is community service, and your business believes in helping the community and investing back into the community. And you find people that find that value to be near and dear to their heart, right? I work for Habitat for Humanity. Sorry, shameless plug. I don't work for them or affiliated with them at all, but they just came to mind. Habitat for Humanity, right? Volunteers that work there volunteer because they are connected to a value within that company that stands out to them. And so I would say diversify your values in a way that makes your employees feel recognized, feel seen, feel heard, feel like their best matters, right? I don't think people give their best if they don't feel challenged, if they don't feel appreciated, if they don't feel a connection. And so when you allow yourself to kind of build in on that value, but don't just say it's a company value, right? And that's where branding gets a little bit deeper when you really start to integrate it, weave it into the culture of your business, right? And so again, if your value is giving back, we don't just say our value is giving back. We really team up with local nonprofits, and we commit to doing the work and we serve for free. A company that I really like that does that is Capital One. And they really go out of their way to show up and invest back into the community in different ways. Another company that does that is called True Access Capital. I actually just did an event with them. They really go out into the community and uphold that value within their organization. And I think that's what is something that I would suggest for a business owner that's kind of seeing a change in employee retention, employee investment. I think that it's really about helping them to understand, why does this all matter to them in the long run, whatever that value is.
Great.
That was an incredible answer.
Yeah.
I was like, she's so right. She's right. She's right. The whole time I'm like, yes, you're right. India, it's so true what you're saying. And even though Randy asked the question, I was also like, yeah, that's a great question, Randy. I'm curious too, because even though I'm in the restaurant industry and he's in the beauty industry, still our worlds are colliding, and we're in the industry of service.
That's right.
And that's, we're providing a service. And I feel that you are so right. And it's very, very true. Very, very true what you just said. But I want to shift gears a little bit. Because I know I want to tie it back to you. Like, what inspires you and keeps you motivated to keep going? Because I'm inspired daily with what you do. And I've been watching you and cheering you on, but I'm always learning something, as you can see. We're, just this conversation alone, I'm learning something. But what inspires you and keeps you motivated to keep going?
I would say I really evolved in my answer to that, because I think before I would think about things, or I would think about moments or people. And now I think what inspires me the most is rest. I've learned that it's not a thing, it's not a person. Now there are so many people in my life. There's so many people in my life that are so inspiring. They really are. And I would say they truly are. My business partner, for one, is definitely someone that inspires me. My family inspires me. So there's people. There's definitely people. But when I think about where I am now in my life and what I find to be moments where I'm able to be the most creative, I think that's what is an indication of I'm inspired. I start to feel creative, and I'm like, I gotta write this down. I gotta write this idea down. And when I'm in that mood and feeling, that's when I am just resting, and I'm in my skin, and I am just relaxed. And that's when I'm the most inspired, because my mind can actually process one thought to another. And I'm not thinking about my client launches and I got to do this interview and I got to do X, Y, and Z. My day is just rest. And I think that for me as a woman and where I am now, rest is so important.
Excellent. So, India, we have some questions that our listeners are typing in. So I want to make sure I answer these questions, which is so great that we have everyone listening. Clearly, there's a need because we have these questions. So what are the I guess you would say, the least expensive ways to promote your business? Maybe just like some quick tips and tricks.
That's a really good question. And so really quickly, I want to help to just break down for the person who asked the question. And thank you so much for asking that. I want to break down the difference between promote and market, right? Because most people confuse those two when they're talking about what they're trying to do, right? So if the objective is to sell a product, then you're going to advertise it, right? And if the objective is to talk about a product that you're selling, then you're going to promote it, right? And so when I think about what you're trying to accomplish in terms of, you are a business owner that may not feel like you have the budget to invest in advertisement, right? And so you're still thinking about a way to connect with your audience without utilizing funds right now, because it's just not a part of the budget. You still want to interact and connect with your audience and let them know, hey, we're here, we exist, don't forget about us. I would say some least expensive ways to do that is to promote your business, not only through social media, which of course is going to be your immediate thought. Oh, I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put it on Facebook. I'll put it on LinkedIn, wherever it is that your audience is, right? But you also want to couple that with an email marketing plan. So I would definitely say, if you can afford to get your website done, if you can go ahead and get in a professional email box, and also subscribe with there are so many email builders out there that you can also look into. And an email builder will allow you to create the template of your email that you are trying to send so that it is branded, and again, consistent with your branding across the board. But you also want to make sure that you're tying back in opportunities for your audience to go from your social media to your website, from your website to your social media. Why? Because if that is your main customer journey, right? Let's say, for instance, again, because you only promote on social media, right? You don't run ads, so you don't have a specific way that you're targeting your audience. You're just trying to promote to them. You would definitely want to make sure that you are tying in opportunities for people to go from social to web. So an instance of doing that is on your website. It may say, hey, if you're a fashion brand, let's say, for instance, on your website, it may say, hey, check out some of these styles on Real People or on Our Beauties. And then they'll have a social media grid built into their website. Now you can click it and see what would that item look like on you. And believe it or not, those help to make purchase decisions for the buyer. And so let's say, for instance, that buyer then sees a picture on your Instagram that you're promoting, and it says, hey, visit our website and get 15% off in the caption, right? Now I've seen what the dress looks like. I think that looks really cute. I'm going to go back to the website and I'm going to use my 15% off new member discount code. So you want to be able to just find ways to tie your audience back through their journey, however that may be. Because now when they give you their information for that 15% off code, you can then run an email to them to remind them of every upcoming deal, sale, event, opportunity that's coming.
That's very true. Randy, you actually are very good at that with your businesses, and it seems to be very effective.
Yeah, we have a list of 40,000 emails that we email constantly.
Right. But that's also accumulated over 45 years. So that, you've worked hard to earn that many contacts in your database. And that's through consistency and making sure that you're constantly trying to figure out ways to connect with your audience, and just by a simple email blast. And you're right. Or even just offering a discount code. I believe last time we had our we filmed our podcast, we offered a discount code, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, right? But just to be able to, I guess you would say, engage the followers to keep coming back, and which I think is very clever. And it doesn't, if you think about it, it's not as costly. It really isn't. I mean, yes, it does cost you something, but it's something that you can try to figure out and make it work. And I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
So, please.
I'm sorry. And I was going to say, when you create opportunities as well to, again, kind of connect your brand values back into your communications, I think that it really reminds people that they're not there to just buy a product. Like, consumers are getting tired of brands that are just like, buy me, buy me, buy me. Every single time they turn around, it's a sale, it's a this, it's a that. Sometimes they just want to get updates about what is the brand doing, or what are some ways that you can make your customers feel special, right? So you can also use those as opportunities to diversify your messaging strategy so that you're not only just selling.
Right. Well, so I have a follow-up question from the same person, which I love when we get questions. And I always want to try to make sure I get them all. I know there was another one, so I don't want to forget the other one. But the follow-up question from the same individual is, how do you measure success?
For me, I would say that success is really dependent on what your goal is. And everybody has different goals. And so that's why, again, strategy is so important, because it allows you to really analyze what are your goals. And your goals are going to look different per quarter, per year, per 5 years. It's going to look very different for what you would like to accomplish or what you want to get accomplish. But let's say, for instance, you're just looking at a quarter basis. You may have a set of goals that span over those 3 months. So for January, it may look like we want to increase engagement. And so it would be wise of you to take those 3 months, I would say longer, but to take those 3 months to really test your strategy and to see if that is connecting with your audience. And pay attention to your analytics, because that's what's going to allow you to know if you need to pivot, if you need to change something. Will Smith had a quote, and I believe he said, if you fail fast, fail forward, fail fast, something of that nature. Don't quote me on it, but it's in those terms of fail fast so that you can learn what's not working and correct it. So it's really important for you to pay attention to your data. One of the things that I specialize in is data analytics, because I have to make informed decisions. I would love to say that I rely only on my skill, but that's very egotistical. I rely on reading the data. What is the data telling me? Is the data telling me that this is working? Then great, let's double down on that. If the data is telling me that this is a dumpster fire, we got to put it out. So you really have to pay attention to that to make those informed decisions. And that will give you the answer of what were we successful? Because success doesn't always look like 100% reaching your goal. You might look at it and say, okay, for this first quarter, we just want to get this percentage done of X, Y, and Z, and then utilize the rest of the year to really make that happen. But if you rush through goals, oftentimes, I know like we're in a goal culture and everybody just wants to like show up with the end result. I get it. But if you really want to accomplish those goals, you have to make sure that you are paying attention to what you're doing throughout the year, because that's what's going to really give you an understanding of if you're succeeding or not in your endeavor.
Very true.
How about designing a web site? What are some mistakes that people make?
I think that right now, there is such an influx of people entering into business and entrepreneurship. And so for the most part, there's so much information about what is necessary and what they need in order to have a functional business, right? And I think that there is a niche of people that do believe that you can build websites on your own, and you absolutely can. It's a possibility. There's even website domains that you can visit that will help you build a website. Now, the issue with that is that when you're just building a website and you don't have knowledge behind what it is that you're doing, I guess that's really kind of the simplest way I can say. When you don't really have knowledge on how to design the website in a way that really helps a customer go through a journey, then there are certain elements that you might miss in building that site. And that is really crucial to your sales process, right? So if we're talking about the layout, some errors that I think that people make is that in their hero or their main banner section, they are not captivating their audience fast enough and letting them know what it is that you provide as a solution for them and why they should stay on this website. That's the number one thing. You have to be able to, and I think you only have like max 5 seconds, right? Someone that is, let's say for instance, have you ever been to a website where you're just like thinking of a quick cooking recipe and you're just trying to find the recipe and you're willing to click on like any of them just to read it and see, is this the right one? Was this the last one I looked at?
Right.
You gotta really be invested in what they are saying in order to stay on that website. And so that's the same concept for from thinking of it from a business owner perspective and not a consumer perspective. You want to be able to captivate their attention. And so in that hero section, I would definitely say to tighten up your messaging in what you're trying to communicate to them. I would also say make sure that you have high resolution photos.
Yes.
Amira is a stickler for that. She will not build a website without high resolution photos, because that really helps a consumer determine whether or not this is a legitimate site. So when the brand comes to me and tells me that one of their values is trust, I immediately think about what is the messaging and visual identity that supports that messaging that they're putting out. And if your photos are low resolution, poor lighting, you're not really showing me, is that makeup going to look good on me, or is that skincare products going to be nice and as moisturizing as they claim, right? You got to show us that. And so I think that people lack people underestimate, that's what I'm looking for. People underestimate the importance of high resolution photos. And that's not just for the hero and the banner, that's for the entire website from start to finish. You want to make sure that everything is consistent. So working on that. And then I would say, yes, some other things are just not knowing what apps to integrate within the website that would allow it to be not only a high performing site, because again, slow websites, nobody wants to be using a slow website. But aside from that, other apps that allow the customer to really add more items or cross sell between items. It gives you an opportunity to, when you work with a designer, it gives you an opportunity to integrate in those apps that really can help to boost your numbers. So
yes,
those are some things I would say they should work on.
And I totally agree with you when you said about the pixelated photos. Actually, that's my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
I hate, and I say that with a lot of passion, pixelated photos. I work so hard to capture a food item that we're selling at the restaurant or a specialty cocktail. And it's so frustrating that you try to capture these photos because it paints the picture of your product. And it's so critical to make sure that it represents that through your marketing and your social media. And then when the photo uploads and it's pixelated, what did I do wrong? Yeah, I've deleted it and I have to start over again. So sometimes that does happen. There's some hiccups when, when processing the photo or when you're uploading it that you can't control, but I'm a stickler for that. And that's something that I try to maintain with consistency, like you said. That's really, really important to have. The photo needs to be crisp, clear, and it has to have good lighting.
Because a poorly lit and poor connection photo or video could potentially make someone scroll past. And because we, again, are in a digital world, and this even matters offline, right? So your photos matter regardless, because if you're going to be printing brochures or flyers or any type of marketing materials, you're going to want to make sure that everything is high resolution for your printers. But yeah, definitely really important. You don't want people to look over the message. You want them to be directly connected to it.
Right. You got that right. Yep. So India, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. You're not just only a full-time entrepreneur, but a mom. And I love this about you. And I'm just curious for those that are listening, including me, how do you do it all?
I don't have some super great, elaborate, nice explanation. What I have is the reality of the matter, and that is I have a really good support system. I have a lot of really great people around me in my life, from mentors to family to friends to just so many people, colleagues. I have great people around me. And I think that more so the ability to juggle all of the physical tasks, I think that the challenge is truly within the mental. And I have so many people around me in my life that continuously invest in my mental health. And what I mean by that is that every day they deposit happiness and joy and success and good feelings within me. And that allows me to not really cower in the face of a challenge, or to feel woe is me, or
Mhm.
to feel like I can't do this. Like, of course you can do this. You know, Amira said you could. Of course you can do this. Vincenza and Randy said you could, right? You know, just those affirmations I think
Mhm.
are really important, right?
Mhm.
Affirmations are super huge and super important to your
Mhm.
mental health. And I think that's what allows me to really be able to function. I remember after having my son, I think that I was going through a little bit of postpartum depression. And I think people don't talk about that enough.
Mhm.
And I was kind of affected by that. It affected my performance, right? It affected the way that I felt about myself, because I was getting used to being not just India anymore, but now I have a baby and he's so beautiful, so handsome. He's a sweetheart. His name's Lotus. I have him, and there's so much that I want to accomplish right alongside of him as well. And so that kind of brings me joy and inspiration as well. So, yeah, for me, motherhood has been really just believing that it's possible to do it. I think that sometimes women look at having a child and carrying their career as something that is competing with each other.
Mhm.
And I think we had a conversation the other day, Vincenza, where
Mhm.
I said it's not competing with each other. It's simply
Mhm.
coexisting. The same ways in which a woman or a man, right? This is the same thing for I think it's parenthood, right? Forget
Mhm.
motherhood. I think it's parenthood. I
Mhm.
think that the same way that you invest in your business or your career, or your identity, or whatever is of importance to you, is the same way that you will, and you should, right, invest
Mhm.
in the raising of your child, and you coexist with the two. It's not always going to be perfect, because that's just not a reality with a toddler. But
Well, thank you for that. That was important to me, that question. And I'm sure many others listening or that will tune in even later, because what's beautiful about a podcast, it'll always be there and people can always tune in and watch. And I think that question was just so important and powerful that I really wanted to ask for our listeners. So thank you for that.
I agree. I definitely agree. Thank you, Vincenza.
Well, okay, India, we are running out of time. I'm looking at the time and I'm like,
Let's
I could keep
yeah,
talking. I could keep
let's
talking.
extend it.
Right,
You
right.
know?
I wish we could. But India, I would love for our listeners and our viewers to be able to follow you. So why don't you share with us ways they can follow you or contact you or even maybe take advantage of your services that you offer?
Absolutely. Thank you
Mhm.
so much again. I had a great time on here. I felt so cozy within my skin, so comfortable. You two are great hosts, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck on all your future endeavors with this show. This is a great show. It's a gem. It's a gem. So for my social media, you can follow me on Instagram at India Sage the brand, on Facebook India Sage, LinkedIn India Sage, Twitter India Sage the brand. Pretty much if you find one account, you'll find all of them because they're pretty much linked. And then
Mhm.
if you are interested in creating a strategic and intentional plan for your business, and you
Mm.
need visual identity, you need a way to bring that vision to life, then
Mm.
you want to visit us at FF and ISMA. That's going to be spelled FFXISMA.com. And you want to visit us at our services section. First, start there so you can learn a little bit more about what we do and what we offer. And then you can head to scheduling a consultation with us, which is absolutely free. We'll
Mhm.
talk for 15 minutes to learn more about your goals and your pain points, and really learn how we can be a solution to you and your business needs. So I'll see you guys soon.
Wow.
Oh gosh, thank you so much, India. Again, good luck, and I hope to see you soon.
Sooner than you think,
In person.
Vincenza.
In person.
Yes, I'll call you.
Uh,
Perfect. All right, India, take care. Oh, wasn't she amazing?
yeah, I
I
could
told
talk to
you,
her
right?
hours.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I knew this was going to be a really good interview because she's so
Yeah.
knowledgeable, so experienced, and I yes, approachable and I mean obviously beautiful and intelligent and just so accomplished, but so knowledgeable and experienced, and I felt that she brings so much value. And I knew that this conversation was going to be valuable for many that are listening, because again, what she offers is in my opinion, is priceless, because not only does she help you and guide you in putting together a marketing strategy for your business, but maybe something if you wanted to do more personal branding. And she is the one to seek out to find help and educate yourself about ways of marketing your business or your personal brand.
I believe this show is going to cost.
well,
I'm going to need.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It looks like you might be hired by Randy. Andia, thank you so much. And for everyone tuning in, I hope that you learned something today. I mean, I did. I'm always learning. Every conversation I have with India, I always learn something new. And that's the value of having her in your space. So we're very honored that we were able to have her on our podcast today. And for everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us. Make sure you stay tuned for our next Pronto podcast. I believe we will have the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition on, and that they're actually near and dear to me. So I'm very excited to speak with them, and I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone, thank you again, and pronto, Randy.
Pronto, Vincenza.